So, as introduction, she has been awarded by Bill Gates personally already back in the 80s. Just last month, she was awarded with a Sweden's foremost female entrepreneur. He has more than 100 patents under his belt all around the world. Right now, they are making databases 100,000 times faster. They have offices on the prime locations of Järntorget and Palo Alto. Being all Elon Musk about what they have made, they're just about to release the entire thing open source, and we're going to talk about that. So let's give it a big, huge Startup Grind welcome to Carina Dreifeldt and Per-Åke Minborg. Welcome.
Thanks.
All right, let me just get some water for us. We may be talking for a while, so water could be a good idea. Yeah, how did that feel?
Oh, it was great.
Was it fun?
Never ever got this. Can we do it again?
It was a great feeling.
All right, well, you totally deserve it. You have such an exciting story. I gotta tell you guys, when I was just researching this conversation, I was amazed. I mean, you are truly an entrepreneurial couple. So that's something we want to spend some time talking about. Basically, you know, how you remain a couple. I think every sane entrepreneur in the world advises against it.
Yeah.
So any management book out there says don't do it. And we definitely want to cover that. How long have you guys been married now, by the way?
We have been married since... yes, do you remember?
I do. That's why we can stay married. since 91.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, right? But you've been a couple even before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some really good photos of times before that. We got to get some photos just to break that. We really only have 1 hour. This is like a 5-hour conversation. So, Peter, could you pull up the great first photo? We're talking 80s, guys. Yeah, we got to get to see these. So let's see if we can, yes. Okay, so this one is from Datormagasinet, Sweden's.
Okay.
Right? So, I love the hairdo, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
Great. But just comment that. Why are you in the magazine with not only that hair, but also that sweater?
First, let me say it's obvious because she is on the front page and not me. So everybody understands why. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone remember, but back in the 80s, everybody was knitting.
Yes.
So this was a knitting story.
Yeah. And that knitting pattern was actually from the first company you guys had?
Yes, it was.
Okay, very good. Well, so because there's another photo with knitting involved. Let me see if I fall down here. Could we go to the next slide? Yeah, this is you now.
It's me?
This is you with the awesome 3D pattern.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys had this thing going on with, as your first idea was a knitting pattern thing for Amiga.
Yes, actually, it was a music interface that was our first idea. Mm-hmm. So that was the real business, so to say. Right. So the knitting pattern was more a thing we did to a marketing thing, so to say. Yeah.
Because was it that got you the award with?
Yes, it was.
So let's roll the next photo as well on that note, because that's pretty cool. We got some that's the one with Bill Gates.
Okay.
Yeah, handing you an award. Yeah, comment that a little bit.
This was my master thesis from Chalmers. Mm-hmm. So, and it was a big competition around it, and I got first prize. And at that time, Bill Gates was not so well known, but now it was really fun.
Yeah, he had more or less the same glasses. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's pretty interesting. Let me see. Do we got another one before we jump in? Yes, I love this one. So this is the one where you've created, I think it's your third or second company. Which one is that one? You have a child on the table?
Yeah, okay, that's the phone pages.
That's the phone pages,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's the one we started on the millennium shift, and everybody was talking about startups, and they were breaking ideas with selling underwears for females, and raised several $1 million on that. So, but we had another story.
We didn't mean to start a company at that time because we just had a baby.
Yeah.
But we were.
That's on that picture. And I think it's so, the part I love about it is, so the baby's in the middle, right? You all see it front and center. You got this startup scenario. And then you got this one dude sitting to the right, just looking, even he's going, what is the baby doing here? His eyes are all right, so we're going to get into these companies and have a great conversation about, as much as we can about them. We're going to make sure, though, to save some time. I want to have a solid amount of time for a type of a crowdsourced interview. We want to get you guys engaged, right? So everybody's got a smartphone. Anybody that doesn't need to leave right now. So could we flip over to, right. So you go in on slido.com and you put in the event code straight up from your smartphone, Startup Grind, as one word, all small, right? There you can post questions. As soon as you post a question, it's going to pop up there. Anybody that likes that question gets to just press the like button on it. And at the end, we take the questions with the most likes as much time as we have. So that's the way, and whoever gets the question can raise their hands when we get it, so you get to pose the question yourself. Right? Make sense? Yeah? Okay. Smartphones getting engaged, or? Yeah, I can see a few of you guys moving. All right, so this is the fun part, so don't miss that. All right, so let's start. I thought let's start just talking about your various startups. And let's start at the beginning, so everybody's got some visual. So let's start with Åke Startup.
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you start that?
I think you started
Very
early.
Our first company I was 16, and I had to have a certain extra permit because I lived with only my mother, so she had to meet an extra permit, so I was allowed to start a company, and that was the first company. And I've been working with different companies since
We
then.
changed that company into a common company, and we switched name to Åkes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and it was maybe 87 or something.
Yeah.
And that was we're talking Commodore 64.
Yeah.
We're talking C64. We're talking Amiga.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Software and music interfaces and samplers, stuff like that.
And you built the hardware for that.
We built everything, and everybody asked us, where do you import those things from? Where do you buy them from? But I didn't really understand that we did them ourselves here in Sweden. But we started to do them here. Then we sold it and built them together. But when it was too big, we asked our little sisters and brothers to do it. And when they got tired, we asked their friends. And when they were tired, we shipped out everything to Poland at that time and made it in batches.
That's awesome. And how did that segue to what we saw with the Bill Gates situation?
It was the same company. I would say that we were market leader of this music interface, so that was our big product. But I realized at that time that it was just a boy toy, the computer. There were no applications at all for women. So I kind of thought, can we do something that is typical, a female thing? And a knitting pattern as actually like a computer pixel. So that was the idea, and I called the magazines and asked them why they had no female stuff. And that was the way. So we got a lot of marketing around and also we sold a lot of this to schools and so on, but still the music
was the bigger business.
Was the big thing,
Right. And so you ran that business for a while, and then I think there was some years of corporate life in between, right? And then it came to a point when you wanted to start a new company. So the entrepreneurial thing came back into the game again. And I think that was around 2000, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What took you away from this, to my understanding, good corporate position to actually go back into startup life?
I was on a mother leave, and it was just year 2000. A lot of companies were built, a lot of venture money was around, and Per-Åke was discussing the future of mobile phones. He described that there will be phones with pictures, and he described that people will have their homepage on the phones, and we will be able to see a picture of a person when they call. And at that time we had just black and white. We didn't even have that.
Right.
And I was thinking, that sounds good. I think that this will be the future. So we decided to file a patent and bring the baby up to Stockholm and see if we could get some money for this.
So that was crazy talk at the time, right? Having pictures in the phone.
Yeah.
And VAP, by the way, for all you youngsters out there, is, you know, better you guys say, well. But
it was like you can have 3 lines of text, which you can update remotely. And that was really cool at that time.
It was way cool.
Yeah.
And so this thing of yours, it's, so what exactly was it?
Nowadays it's very, very easy to explain. It was Facebook on the phone.
Right.
So it was actually what we described, what we built, what we had patents around. But at that time, no one understood what we're talking about.
Right, but you still got some good money around it, though.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I remember that you had a couple of interesting ones. Of course, the Siemens one is the one that was mentioned in the article. So let's talk with that. So how did you get to Siemens, and then, because they had 100 million valuation on this company that you guys started?
There were no possibility to have apps in the phones at that time. You need to be working very close with the phone companies. So we were discussing with a lot of them, and we decided to go with Siemens. And the thing was, they were not only going to invest in the company, they were also going to put the technology inside the phones. So that was something that was important for us. Then they were bought by another company, and a lot of things happened, but that was the idea.
And this, you had a pretty good traction on it too. A lot of people tried to download it, or how did it go with that?
A smart thing, I think, is referring to Carina.
Yeah, there was, I think you mentioned that that the phones weren't ready, but there was more than 70,000 users that were trying to download your apps.
And it was, as the phone page thing was, we were forced to have the phone company with us. We were thinking, can we do something that is possible a little bit later? Can we do a service that is possible to download? And then we actually did a service called Smart. Today it's called WhatsApp, but we did it much, much earlier. And then we got the headlines all over Sweden about this, and 75,000 tried to download it, but at that time only 2,000 or 3,000 had phones actually that was possible to download it. So
you were early, yeah?
Yeah, we were very early.
Too early.
But nonetheless, you had the likes of Microsoft involved as well in the conversation. How did that go?
It was pretty funny. We were very secret. The first year we were very secret. We just filed all the patents. We didn't say what we were doing. But after the first interview, I think it took just 1 month, and then Microsoft came to us, and they were very interested, and they just bought Sendit, and they decided to have Swedish companies from Israel and in the US. So they have 3 bones, and we were far in the discussions. So we had a very good thinking that they actually were going to buy us.
Yeah, you were close, right? It was a pretty big number.
Yeah.
You want to share?
You can share.
Yeah, that was I don't remember if it was kroners or, but it was a billion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In kroner.
Yeah, it was a 1 billion kroner transaction that Microsoft was bringing to you guys right here in Gothenburg. That's craziness. But then Microsoft.
Yeah, they did. They reorganized. So they decided we are not going to do anything with mobile phones anymore.
So just cut that leg away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can feel, okay, were we very disappointed about this? But I said no, because it was, everything was happening so fast, so we didn't have time to think too much.
It was quite unreal.
Yeah, you had a 1 billion kroner transaction on the table. It vaporized.
Yeah.
So what does that do to a couple?
It tends to bring you together, I think. It depends on your standpoint, where you are, but that shows you that there is something good with this, at least.
Definitely.
And I think that the fact that they're reorganized wasn't our fault, so to speak.
Right.
So we just continued to work with it and expanded the concept and filed even more patents and carried on a few years more.
You would think that it would bring to those, you know, ridiculous things in life, like who takes out the trash. That should become a topic. Because if it was a billion, we'll never take out the trash. And now you have to take out the trash. No, nothing. You just worked on it. Interesting. Yeah, that's super interesting. But so nonetheless, you kept on, right? You pushed through, and finally you exited to Sony Ericsson, right?
Yeah.
When was that?
2005, 6.
Wow.
I, for one, love that wonderful that music. No, forget about it. All right, so we got Ericsson, Sony Ericsson exit in 2006.
Yes.
Right? So we've been fast forwarding from, you know, 80s to through the entire, you know, super hype of 2000, where, you know, half you guys were.
And back to reality.
Yeah, and then back to reality in 2006.
Yeah.
Another big boom to come in 2008, but who knew then? Yeah. And then you're smack in the middle of it. So somehow you go from, you know, Facebook, WhatsApp to music industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, right here from you.
When we did this exit, we thought that we should take it things a bit slow for a while.
Yeah.
And we did that 3 weeks.
So you took a 3-week vacation after a big
Then we
exit.
started this next startup.
Yeah.
You know, people are asking us, why didn't you stop
Yes.
when you did the first exit? But I always say it's like a musician, like Madonna, Michael Jackson. Nobody tells them that, oh, that was a great hit. Now you can stop making music. It's not, because it's not all about the money and the exit. It's about the ideas and making things real that you believe in.
Yeah. So how did you come to that idea?
We were a lot of, as we were working with IPR and patents, and at that time there were a lot of discussion about Pirate Bay and doing illegal things on internet, and our kids were using Pirate Bay to find music, and we were thinking, can't we find a legal way of letting them discover? And
They were just downloading legal stuff on Pirate Bay.
Yes, of course.
Mhm. Yeah, just saying.
And
It's a great place for that.
yeah, and
We are filming.
Yeah.
and what we were thinking, we actually were using radio recorders
Right.
to find and discover music.
Right.
And we built a radio recorder on internet. And Per-Åke came up with this idea to do it in the cloud, and that was pretty new at that time.
So we're talking cloud-based services.
Yeah, it was a cloud-based radio recorder, so it just sat there on the internet and soaked up a lot of radio channels,
Right.
and they recorded it, and you got your own collection.
So online radio channels from all over the world.
Yeah, from all over the world.
We just suck it
Yeah,
up and then.
you could enter your favorite artist, for example, and then we were sniffing up all those all around the world.
And it was downloading or recording it as a file. Online or
not downloading. That's very important. It was recording it.
It was recording.
Because that's legal.
Okay, so it was recording it.
Yes.
And you could listen to it whenever you wanted,
Yeah.
on demand.
Yeah, you can have it on your phone, on your web browser, or whatever.
Right. And so when did you launch this? And what was the name of it?
Chillerec.
Okay, Chillerec.
Yeah.
And so I know that you got a TechCrunch article about
Yeah,
it.
there was a lot of articles. This was actually one of the first cloud applications out there. Now everybody's talking about the cloud, but this was one of the first real cloud applications.
And did you consider it as a cloud application, or was it just, you know?
It was just it was a cloud application. That wasn't the intention. The intention was
Right.
for it to work
Right.
as it's.
And the thing was that we never launched it.
Right.
We asked 10 of our friends to try the service out and tell us what they thought about it, and then we were going to launch it.
And remember, this was before Facebook.
This is-
In those days, you just sent mail to your friends
Right.
about stuff.
Yes. the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Refer to it.
Way back.
But and you had your servers where?
Here in Gothenburg,
Right.
central
In the
Gothenburg.
Yeah.
In the shower.
In the shower room.
We had a shower. We had the office and the servers that were making a lot of noise.
Right.
So we put them in the shower.
Yes, just a couple of boxes in the shower. Yeah.
And wanted them. So it was a beta service, and actually the 10 friends, they became 1 million friends
In
short time?
year.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It just exploded.
Yeah.
And one day when we came to the shower, we opened the door and it was glowing. It was like the sauna inside because there was some newspaper writing up the articles and it was a boom of
Right.
new users. So
And everybody was in Finland, I think.
yeah, it was in Finland. So that was spreading all over the world.
That's why the sauna.
Yeah.
Probably that's what happened.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, right? Because you had, if you check the data, you had 2.5% of all of Sweden's internet traffic
It was amazing.
going through their servers.
Yeah.
It was really amazing.
Yeah. It's craziness.
Was
Through
the
your
big-
shower, basically, your office shower.
Yeah. But then at that time it wasn't in the shower.
Right,
We had
okay.
to- it didn't. We had to move it.
You actually moved it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was then. At that time, it was in a cellar.
Okay, great. Yeah. And so all of Gothenburg's traffic, right? 2.5% of Sweden. Basically, everything that's going on in Gothenburg is running
Everything,
through you.
basically from server side from Gothenburg was our traffic.
Yeah. And so
Because everybody else had their servers in stock.
And so you were doing this, and this was this race of optimization, right?
Yeah.
And what did that?
Yeah, we had at that time we had the SQL database, and as things were slower and slower, we optimized the queries, make it to 2 or 3 days, and then after a week we perhaps get it 30% quicker. But then again, after 1 week, we had 30% more users, so we're back to square one again on Monday. It wasn't really a feasible way of doing it.
Right.
So that's where we came up with the idea we're doing right now,
Right.
accelerating databases.
Yeah. So what happened? How did that
He
happen?
came one day and said that now we don't need to buy 200 servers. We
Right.
can stick with these 2 servers. And I said, good. And then after a while he said, by the way, it's also 100,000 times faster.
Right.
So it was actually, at that time, we didn't think too much about it because we were so much thinking of the Chiller service and all the new users. But then after a while I started to think, what did you do with the service that day? Because if we can gain the speed and just need to use 2 servers instead of 200s, we need to take this technology to all other companies out there.
Right. And that's the core of what Speedment's doing
Yeah.
today, right? And so it's keep getting paraphrased, right? 100,000 times faster. That's pretty amazing. But did you? Because you were in the business side, you were the CEO at that time too, right? That's the normal.
Yeah.
So patents, CEO.
I do, she decides.
Got it. And so you're going, great, less costs.
Yes.
No more
I
servers.
thought less cost.
Great, we can do other stuff. But so did you kind of go, damn, this is something amazing we stumbled upon?
Yeah, I think it was a great, and it is a great idea.
Yeah.
And then we sold this music stuff, and then we're just concentrating on the acceleration.
Yeah. But I want to talk about how that path went. I just want to check because I can't see are we having some voting going on there? You guys who see, is there any questions that are exciting? Okay. Embarrassing? No? Okay, stop that. No nudity. Perfect. Looks good?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So you're sitting there, you got this thing that speeds up, saves costs. It's great, yeah? But it's zoned in on this music business that clearly is a kick-ass industry, right?
Yeah.
Spotify, what's not. You're right there at the same time, yeah, with Spotify being built up. But you exit. You stop that.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did that happen and why?
We had this idea to use this, that it is possible for a person to record music from internet. And the thing was that we were discussing with the music industry, and we got the same opportunity to Spotify to have the same license model. But as we were a recorder, it was not the original music. It was some talk in the beginning and some German voice in the end and so on. So we thought that we can never compete with a company having original music out there. This must be done in another way. And I think that all the music industry at that time, they had no idea what kind of license would that be. So there were too much discussion about what kind of license can we have and not have, and you need to be in a specific country. You can't be, we were all over the world, and then we would need a license for each country and so on. So we said, we don't like this. We wanted to do the technology stuff, that's what we are good at. So let's sell this and let's focus on the server platform instead.
And you found a buyer? You found a buyer?
Yeah, in the US.
In the US.
Yeah.
So you sold that business to a US buyer, and you said, let's take 2 years of vacation?
At that time, no, we didn't say that. We didn't have any vacation between that because that didn't count as a real exit.
No.
Right. That was a fake exit. It was only an American company that bought it. Right, I get it. So then you just moved on into what's now.
Yeah, we just moved on into the next step. Yeah, and at that time, it was very specific around this music industry, about this music thing. So the first step then was to make it a little bit general, so we can use it in consultancy projects to solve different problems. For example, I have them in the Swedish trains. It's not our fault that they are late, but still they're in the trains.
There's a competitor now, so
yeah, that's good.
Express will solve it.
And now the third step is to make it general, so everybody can use it. So now we're launching this open source.
So exactly. So what is it?
Yeah, that's a big question. What it does, it's mapping the database through an in-memory structure that exists on the same side as the application itself, and that's the reason why it's so quick. Because even like retrieving a thing, if you play things in a scale of 1 million, and if I have to execute a query, I can run down to the bar there or run back. But if you have to do it to the real database, you have to run to the next city, wait there for 3 days, and then run back again. That's the scale of the difference.
Right.
When you have everything in the same memory as the application is running in the same process, in the same JVM.
Okay.
It's a tool for a developer to develop application. So it's an easy way to develop, and it's very, very fast execution. And as a developer, you don't need to change the database structure. You can stick to the database that's there. You don't need to migrate to a NoSQL database or anything.
We got a bunch of hackers coming in later. They're gonna go crazy. So maybe some are already going crazy, but really silently in their head. Let's talk about that. So first of all, you're moving just in August, right?
Yeah.
Together with Malin or Emil right here. Big wave of hands. How you doing, guys? To Palo Alto.
Yeah.
All 4 of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shipping over the entire team. It's a small team.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're gonna go open source.
Yeah.
You're gonna go for funding, traction, business growth. Let's talk about that. Why open source? What's that about? Being all
Me? Yeah, open source. I think that's a very good way to get traction and credibility for your product. If you're a small team or a small company, then if you release it as open source, it's more likely that people embrace it because they think that, oh, if that company goes away, I can fix it myself, or I can add features to it. So it's a lower threshold for that.
And it's also very natural to have an open source product for open source databases. So we decided to have an enterprise version for enterprise databases.
So how did that, is this one of those conversations where, traditional CEO goes, wait a minute, this is our secrets, and hacker extraordinaire goes, no, let's share it with the world? Or how did that play out?
I think it's, let's say it's a dynamic thing.
How kind of briefly take me through the the discussion. No, but seriously, when you came to this situation, we're gonna put it open source.
Yeah, I think it's like if you give everything away, you don't have everything, you don't have anything. But if you don't give anything away, you don't have anything at all. There's an optimized thing in the middle. So you have to give away just as much as people are starting to use it, but you have to have the opportunity to follow up with stuff so you can add extra things.
To be honest, he said that we were going to do this open source, I think,
From the
years
beginning.
ago.
Yeah.
And I said
so
no.
this been okay. So this
and
did
then
exist.
he's stopped working with it until I said that, okay.
I think it was a little bit before its time, let's say that. So I had it in my cellar for a few years, then I picked it up.
And then someday you can, okay, yeah. And so what do you, I mean, I know that you've been in Palo Alto a bunch of times by now, right? So you know what's coming ahead. But so what's the biggest, thing you see ahead of you coming in the next few months?
We need to grow the community, our user group, and they are there. We are actually talking Java. We can walk on the streets and you can hear people talk Java. So that's the big difference from being here. Then we have been there for 1 week, a month, for a year now. So a good thing is, of course, to not need to go back and forth with the plane.
Right.
But you spend a sizable amount of the month jet lagged if you go that way.
Back and forth. It's a 9-hour
yeah.
time zone difference, right?
So you go there, you got jet lag for 1 week, you go back, you jet lag for 1 week, so you jet lag 50% of the month.
Right. So. It's perfect. But you guys have already also paying customers, right?
Yes.
So how do you handle that conversation that literally everybody in the team is moving over?
I think a lot of Swedish companies are more interested now in us because we are suddenly from Palo Alto and not from Gothenburg. Right. That's more interesting for some strange reason. I don't think it's a drawback. Really.
And also we have customers from all over the world trying. You don't need to be where the customers are all the time.
Right.
With this kind of service.
So how do you feel this exclusiveness coming on, and what do you think is behind that?
How do you mean? Can you elaborate?
That the customers and the Swedish customers may even perceive you as...
Yeah, that's strange. I don't know, maybe there's this saying in Swedish that you don't become a prophet in your hometown. Maybe it's something about that. I don't know. But suddenly we are more interesting since we are from Palo Alto.
Super interesting, yeah.
Despite this Gothenburg accent.
And how about over there? How do they perceive you guys?
There are so many interesting companies there. And of course we think that we are the thing, the unicorn. And I think it's important for us to keep that feeling, that we have something that is as good as everything else there, so we could compete.
I think here the people are scared about moving into something that's not really tested. In this Palo Alto, in Silicon Valley, people are afraid of missing the new thing.
Right.
It's a different way of seeing it.
That right there was a super tweet, whoever didn't catch it. Yeah. Super interesting, yeah. So before we open up for the crowdsourced interview, just is this section that we love to talk about, the brilliance and despair section I mentioned to you guys. If you look back at all these exciting things you had behind you, what's the toughest moment in whatever? May it be business, relationship, running a business together, family, whatever that you guys can think of.
I think the toughest were where we had phone pages, and at the year 2000 a lot of companies were started and it was a big buzz, and a lot of them couldn't make it, and the investors, they stopped believing in you. And
since all the other investment went bankruptcy and we were the only ones left,
right.
So they gave a very cautious.
When we didn't do the big exit and we have to spend 3, 4, 5 more years, and you see, we all the time believed that we had something that was good and that was worth a lot. But if you don't see the small step of, you don't succeed year from year, and everybody around you stop believing in you, and you have to keep up the spirit and know that you will do something one day. This will be something good. I think that was the tough part, and that's what I think it's important for everybody that starts a company to know, that never give up.
I think that the part you're talking about was then that we had like 3 or 4 investors, and all except one pulled out. So we were alone together with the other investor, and if you think about that situation, it's a big discrepancy between their bag of money and our bag of money. So you have to maneuver your position there very well. And I remember that we went down in hibernate mode to consume as little money as possible.
We had a patent portfolio with 125 patents all over the world, and the cost of that portfolio was 150,000 Swedish kronor each month.
150,000 kroners per month in burn rate just for the patents.
So we need to say that, okay, we don't need any salary, and the investor have to pay for the patent portfolio. And you can imagine, you believe that this is a really good technology and we will sell it someday. But they have to wait month for month for month and believe in you. So that was a hard.
Because of course, as soon as you release it, don't pay, it has no value.
Now you have to protect it or you don't protect it. It's kind of digital.
Funny how all things are digital. But so what is that? So what did that do? How did you muster through all of this? Where do you find the energy?
It was a challenge.
I think that was a fun sport.
It was a sport. We should show them that they're wrong.
That was almost like back in the university time again. We have no money. We need to do this. So I would say that was one of the funnest times.
It was very difficult at the same time, very fun.
Yeah.
I would say. It was back to that feeling again, but you didn't have anything.
And did you have like external mentors and energy providers, or did you find that mostly within the two of you when you?
We have good people, mentors in the board around us, and I think that was important.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and in terms of during those harder moments where half any magazine nowadays would say, well, you gotta work hard and then you go home and you unwind, or you don't take work home with you. How do you do that? Because
we take home. We took the work home, of course.
We take
kids are raised with the corporate questions around the kitchen table. That's how it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know our smallest kid. She knows all the members of the board and everything.
So always the little discussion around it. And was that helpful, you think, that you had each other like constantly during those times? Or?
I think that's a good thing with being a couple. We know that now we need to work more, and so we can accept it in a good way. So I think.
Right. That's super exciting. So let's see. Okay. So maybe one last conversation. We got a whole lot of talent in this town. So in terms of some thoughts, or if somebody here is sitting and thinking of jumping on and doing something, do you have any advice? What do you say to a ambitious person thinking of starting a company?
I think one thing is that often you regret what you don't do. So I think it's a value in itself to just try. It doesn't matter if you succeed. If you do what you believe in and you have a passion for it, then you should do it. Because eventually we will all die. But it's better die trying than, you know what I mean.
Another tweet right there.
Yeah. But I think that's important. It doesn't matter if you gain money from it. Otherwise you will gain experience. Yeah. And you can use that in your next attempt. I think that's one of the biggest differences between Sweden and Silicon Valley. That's it's okay to fail. So when you come back to your investor next time, okay, you failed, but you learn a lot. And you learn this and that and this and that, and that's good. Let's try again. Exactly. In Sweden, you kind of, if you fuck up, then you're fried. Yeah. And you know what. But you have to fail in order to succeed. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Should we check to see what the votes say? All right. So, see, Julia, do we have the mic right there? Perfect. All right, thank you. Wonderful. Julia will help us. So the first question right there with the most votes is asked by who? Anybody? Anybody want to call that one? Right there. Awesome. If you just Please stand up, say your name, and state your business. Ask the question.
Okay, hi, I'm Jonas.
Hi. How you doing, Jonas?
And my question is, which have been the hardest decision during your career?
Hardest thing we've done? Well, it was a hard question.
Being a part of Startup Grind, was that it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I think it was this time that we talked about, this time when we were, there was a downside. We had to lay off people and we had to go hibernate and everything. That was a lot. There was a series of tough decisions that we had to make. I think that was the toughest. One of the toughest was this, that we should continue on. I think that was the toughest.
Yes, the decision
to carry on.
To carry on instead of giving up at that time. And we had investors telling us that there are still a bit money left in the company. Let's split them and stop the business here and now. And to actually decide to carry on that moment and said that we believe that this has a big value. We knew that it has a big value.
And we were right. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we were wrong at that time, I think that decision would be even harder in retro perspective.
That would have been the answer.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. Okay, well, thank you. So, we got the next one. Who claims the next question, my friends? All right, Madame up front.
Hey, my name is Christine, and I am asking, how do you create a work-life balance as a couple of family and entrepreneurs?
The work balance between
work and the personal life.
Yeah.
We failed.
Just by asking the question, what do you mean, I think is pretty much the indicator. What do you mean work-life balance?
That's a fact.
That's amazing.
But on the other hand, we have the freedom to. We have been able to spend a lot of time with our kids because we have a freedom of time. We can choose. I would say that I would never like to work in a normal job when I can't spend the hours like I want because of the kids. So I know that, okay, they have a big, an important thing, school, then I can go, and I know that I can work during the night instead. So I think that...
I think this kind of thing will not fit everybody, but it has worked for us.
And just from the snippets I picked up, I mean, you guys are active. You have a karate thing going. You came from karate club madness today.
Yeah.
So that's a family thing?
Yeah. That's how we resolve the issues.
It's actually pretty funny. We started this very small karate club to bring our kids in, and it was you and the youngest daughter that started, and we said that maybe some of our friends could come. But the first day it was 25 5-year-old kids wanting to do this karate, so I said, okay, I need to go in, help you. And now the club, we have 200 members, one of the largest sport club in this small village. So
you can't stop being entrepreneur.
No, I think so.
Yeah.
But now we have given that away to other people because we're going to move, so that was also a hard decision.
Okay.
It was hard,
Because of the kids.
to leave the kids.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Who claims? All right.
Hi, I'm Noel Braganza. I've been curious, but I wanted to know, do you still continue to patent a lot of new ideas, or is it getting harder as the years go by because everybody is kind of getting so connected and everybody gets kind of the same ideas all the time?
Mm-hmm. I would say it's a bit on the contrary, because usually a patent is a combination of other things, and because there are so many new things, there is just a combinatory explosion of things you can do. So obviously, of course, people are getting a lot of patents, but I think we're still 99.99% of everything is still not invented. I think it was in the 19th century, everything that said now everything is invented, but that proved wrong, of course. And I think most of the things remains to be invented. So I also think that's very important. If you have an idea, And if that idea fails or you don't do it, there are also 100 other ideas. You don't have to fall in love with your idea. There are other ideas. So you shouldn't be afraid of selling it because there are other things you can do all the time.
Right. But not all startup entrepreneurs with a tech idea, like a Facebook, goes out and patents something around it.
It's different what it is and how you work with it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good.
And I also think that this has been changing in the last 10, 15 years. It's more that you need to run, you need to do it open source.
So less patents.
It's more traction more than patents, I would say.
That is important.
Depends, of course, what you do. If you do really, silicon stuff or CPUs or memory grids, stuff like that, or telecom, then it's more relevant, I think, with patents. Whereas if you do apps, stuff like that, okay, it might be good to have one, but if you get traction, you get traction.
We like to work with this paradigm innovations, really changing big stuff, and then it's good to try to have a patent around it, because it's more risk, but it's kind of bigger, and in order to be able to reach out to the larger company, you need to have something to leverage.
I think also when you get venture cap for it, it's more a tangible asset. If you said we have a patent application, then they go back, they discuss, and they think that this is something they can talk about, and it's a real asset. It's easier for them, and they're more likely to invest.
Super interesting. Great question. We still have time for maybe one or two more questions. So, who claims the next one? Right there? Perfect. It's coming your way.
Hey guys, I'm David. I don't know, were you together at university time?
And before that.
Yeah, before that. So my question is, how did you finance yourself as startuppers in the beginning of your career? And can you say at least like 2 examples, like that was something was difficult, or 2 concrete examples about that time?
It was kind of funny. Per-Åke we were moving to an apartment, and we had this common finance for the first time, and he was actually buying electronic things, building his innovations, and it was very expensive. And at that time I was thinking, whoa, how can we buy food? Because he used all the money for this new stuff. But then I started to think, I asked him, why do you build this? Because I can't, there are it started with this music interface thing, and you said that it's not possible to buy it, so I have to build it. And then I was starting to think, then we have to sell it because we need to get the money back. So we started to sell stuff in order to finance all his inventions. And then it was, we didn't need to take any loan or anything. We had nothing. We just started with this, built things, sell things, and it started from that.
I remember one time I took all my money that you got a certain amount from the government when you study. I took all of them and bought a 25 megahertz oscilloscope.
I also remember that day.
And I used that several years. It made a huge difference for me, because otherwise I couldn't do this stuff that we were earning money on later on.
Later on, yes.
There's been a lot of that, I hear.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah?
But I don't use it.
But I think that what's important for us is that you need to think in both ways. It's not, if you only spend the build stuff, it will be expensive. But you need to think also, can we sell this? Can we earn money on it? So the good thing is that we have both together.
I think it's very important if you start a company that it's not enough just to have ideas. You have to have someone that packages the ideas and can sell them. And that's rarely one single person that can do that. You have to have 2 or 3 persons that are fitting together in a team.
And as he has new ideas every day, I'm still afraid how many ideas I have spoiled.
But I don't dare to say it to you anymore. I have a new idea. I stopped saying that because she don't want to hear it.
That is wonderful. Let's make sure to get one last one in as well, please. So who claims the next one? Who claims the last question?
So when you led in the speech, you said that many managers' books say that it's bad to be entrepreneurs and the couple. So I would like to ask you, like, why is it bad to be entrepreneurs and the couple, and maybe why was it really good? That you already gave examples.
This is something that I have obviously thought a little bit around, and I think that if you go 100 or 200 years back in time, then there were a lot of couple entrepreneurs in Sweden. If you had a farm, then you were basically an entrepreneur, because you have to solve problems all the time. You have to sell your seed or whatever, and the farm was kind of your company. And usually you were man and woman, and all was back at that 200 years ago. The men were out in the fields, and the women decided what to do. So it's the same now. It works. It's a proven concept.
And I think we have never thought of it. It's just working. Our kids asked us when she for the first time heard that not all couples have the same work. She said, "Why? Do they work on separate jobs?" It was strange for them.
Is that possible?
Right.
You can really feel the ground shaking when she realized that this is not the typical case.
Amazing. How old is she then?
She is 15
16.
now, so
Now.
maybe 16.
Okay, interesting. Couple of great questions. One final one that I saved for the last one was, what was your first date?
Yeah, I think my first date with her was a little bit earlier than her first date with me. So it depends on who you're asking.
You went on like...
Yeah, I was a little bit into her a little bit earlier.
Okay.
Kind of a difference. I remember one time we were out, I had a motorcycle, and we were out driving with a motorcycle.
Yes, went with you with the motorcycle at that time.
Sorry? Okay, you see.
that is a timeless move for anybody, right? Awesome. Well, wonderful. I'm going to take 2 minutes and just wrap up, and then we're going to have I would say, a big round of applause, and then we're going to go out and have a beverage of some sorts, I would say. But again, thank you all for participating in the crowdsourced interview. I want to specifically thank the team of Startup Hack and Arena for making this amazing event. Clearly our eternal friends in Startup Grind has been supporting us. See if we got them up there on the clicker, otherwise. Anybody? No? Okay, we're going to get you up there again. But specifically, I know Chalmers Innovation and Jansson and Noreen is here this evening. You want to make sure to reach out to them. Film and photo, as always. The talented team of Startup Grind that's making this happen. You're all really, by doing this, participating in this, by helping this, we're building and elevating the Gothenburg startup scene to new heights. That's really amazing. So give them all a big round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well, just wrapping it up, on June 17th, we will have an amazing next event. Don't miss it. Keep in tune with our meetup group, our Facebook. That one's going to be Gothenburg romance right there. You're going to have an exciting scenery. So keep an eye out. And again, thank you so much. Let's have fun, all right? See you.